Ho ho ho, welcome back to a new video. So today we're doing something a little bit different. We're kind of going away from the analog horror scene. We're going to be reacting to some disturbing cases of real killer Santas. This is like a Christmas special from me to you.
There are countless Christmas horror movies focused on killer Santas. But
Oh, there is.
surprisingly, there have been some real-life killer Santas out there.
I'm sure there's a new one coming out with the Stranger Things guy in it this year, actually. It's not already out.
This video may not be holly jolly, and there are some darker themes.
So that's just a little pre-warning to you guys, obviously, before we continue this video. If this kind of thing would affect you, and maybe even make your Christmas really down and not great, then maybe watch something else. But yeah, other than that, we're going to go in. This is Bruce Pardo. I guess he's the first guy then, right? All right.
Joseph and Alice Ortega loved Christmas. It was their favorite time of year to spend with their family.
It is for me as well, and probably a lot of you, I guess. Halloween for me too as well, you know.
Alicia and Sylvia. On Christmas
Big family.
2008, the Ortega family invited all 5 of their adult children and their families to their home in Covina, California.
God, they must have a big house then.
Class, low-crime community about 20 miles east of Los Angeles.
Convenient it's low crime and then something happens, right?
Middle of a Christmas Eve poker game when the doorbell rang, and what unfolded was unimaginable. Shortly after the doorbell sounded, police received 911 calls from the Ortega's neighbor.
Oh God.
The caller cried into the phone that someone was burning down the Ortega's house. That
What?
was Bruce Jeffrey Pardo, dressed in a Santa Claus suit. The fire
frick?
department was dispatched to the Ortega house, but the calls kept coming in. Some
Wow.
reported that they heard shooting coming from the house, and when the police arrived at the scene, it was a total nightmare. The only surviving Ortega family members police could locate was Letitia, her husband, and their 8-year-old daughter, who made
Oh no.
it to a neighbor's house.
This is like the legit call. That's horrible, dude.
We're having 2 houses down on the cookie cake. Okay. Ma'am, hold on. Is he at your house? What do you think his name is, Bruce? His name is Bruce Pardo. Okay, and who is he to you guys? Who is he to you? He's my ex-brother-in-law. They're going through a divorce right now. Okay.
So it sounds like to me that it's some kind of how do I explain it? If like revenge, I guess, because of divorces and like obviously being married and stuff like that. And divorces are a big thing, and they do affect people in many different ways. And I mean, looking at the guy anyway, I can see he just by the eyes you can tell he's an evil killer. At least one.
Okay.
Many.
Hold on 1 second, okay? I don't know who else is alive. I know, ma'am. Just stay on the phone with me, okay? My whole family, there's 30 people.
25.
No, I know.
Oh my God.
They're trying to...
He must have killed quite a lot then, right? Over half.
His daughter, however, had been shot, so the family had already made their way to the hospital.
Oh wow.
It was Sylvia Ortega Pardo, Bruce Pardo's soon-to-be ex-wife, had finalized their divorce the week prior to the attack.
Oh shit, okay.
It caused Bruce to snap in the worst way imaginable, and this was his way of getting revenge.
Yeah, I
He
can...
arrived at the Ortega home in a costume with a gift-wrapped package containing a rolling air compressor converted to deliver gasoline from it.
Oh my God.
4 9mm semi-automatic handguns. His 8-year-old niece Katrina, the daughter of Letitia, ran to answer the door in excitement to be greeted with the Santa, only to be shot in the face.
Bloody hell.
He survived.
That's crazy.
Indiscriminately at fleeing partygoers.
He plenty had this plan for a while.
Bullets. Bruce pulled out his homemade flamethrower to spray 18 gallons of gasoline into the house, causing it to...
Flippin' heck. That isn't something you can make easily either. You have to know this kind of stuff to make that, man.
A neighbor. She and her husband had seen a car leaving the cul-de-sac at around 11:45 p.m. Police started searching the Ortega's scorched home. They found bodies burned beyond recognition.
Oh shit.
Later identified as missing Ortega family members.
That's really sad, man.
9 people were murdered. While police were busy,
So he killed just under half.
they received a call from Bruce's brother, Brad Pardo, who returned home from a Christmas party to find his brother laying dead in a pool of blood. Bruce had taken his own life. Christmas Day, police interviewed Letitia, who said that despite the Santa Claus costume, beard, and hat, she could identify the shooter to be her sister's ex-husband, Bruce Pardo. Investigators then...
mean, he's got one of them faces that stands out. I mean, the eyes does as well. And in my opinion, like, this is the thing that kind of annoys me, which kind of makes this video a little bit more of a rant in some aspects, an event maybe. But it's the whole point of, like, you know, this guy goes and does what he does, kills people, but then kills himself, like, or whatever. Like, to me, it's sort of a bit sort of like, what are you doing with your situation? Like, why would you just... It's just it's a weak way out. Like, take the shit, you know, that you just put yourself in. But then it looks like if he's already killed himself, right, once he's killed the 9 of the 25 or whatever, he must have been in the eye of the law in some way, because that picture, I'm sure, is a picture of him, is like a mugshot. So he's obviously been in trouble with the police before.
Then went back
something, I guess,
where Bruce was found dead, and searched his car, which ended up being the same car the Ortega's neighbors had described seeing on their street.
It definitely was him then. Wow.
Inside the vehicle, police found a Santa suit and thousands of rounds of ammunition. The car had also been booby-trapped to explode once the Santa suit was removed. And
oh my god.
Exploded, no one was injured.
Was this guy like in the army or something?
Third-degree burns on his hands and arms, and part of the Santa suit had melted onto his body. Police
oh my
also
god.
found $17,000 in cash cling wrapped on his legs inside a girdle.
What?
Believed he didn't initially plan to kill himself. Around the same time, a man reported a suspicious car parked in front of his Pasadena home. Plates and found the car had been rented by Bruce. Though the car wasn't rigged, it was packed with supplies including a computer, clothes, water.
Yeah, so he was gonna make an escape, hence with the money and stuff.
Bruce had been planning on escaping to Mexico.
Yeah, there we go.
Killing spree, and this was his getaway vehicle. The vehicle was also parked about 500 feet from...
This was all planned, 100% planned for a while then.
This was definitely not a coincidence, and Bruce was only planning on also murdering Scott, because in June of that year, Bruce was ordered to pay $1,800 a month in spousal support.
Oh my
The
god.
divorce clearly took over Bruce's life, and he began to plot ways to get back at Sylvia.
That's no excuse though to kill people though, is it?
Decided that he was...
Or yourself either, really.
...everything and everyone that she loved. The most likely explanation for Bruce's suicide would be his unexpected injuries. There was an open flame somewhere in the house, likely a candle, and when he was spraying gasoline,
Or a fire could be.
an explosion that left him horrifically burned. Instead of driving to kill Sylvia's attorney and then escaping to Mexico like he most likely originally planned, Bruce and
Seems like it.
brothers, where he killed himself because of how badly he was burned. Katrina Yusupolsky is alive and well today, and fortunately,
That's good to know.
didn't let the horrific experience overtake her, and she's currently living her life to the fullest.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Fortunately, Bruce Pardo was not the only story of a killer Santa named...
So just talking about that Bruce Pardo case there, that's some really bigged up stuff, man. I mean, the thing is, right, like, this is going to sound a bit crazy from my side of things, right? But the way that I see it is that if he was burnt so much as he was, right, he could have probably escaped and got away with it, because, like, when you get burnt and things like that, your body gets sort of, like, changed in a way. So your facial features might change and some of your features might change. So, like, he could have probably got away, potentially, which, like, is obviously bad, but at the same time, it just kind of makes me wonder, like, he could have got away with that quite easily if he hadn't killed himself. And, yeah, pretty intense, man. But, yeah, feels bad for the family. You've got Bruce MacArthur. Why is it all Bruce's? What is this?
Bruce. Bruce MacArthur was known as an outwardly jovial man who was the perfect Santa due to his ample white hair and beard. And
You got the belly as well?
his second job. He was a Santa at Toronto's Agincourt Mall until as recently as 2016.
Right, okay.
He was at the time 68 years old, and when
Wow.
he wasn't working as a mall Santa, he was working as a successful landscaper, trusted by his many clients to turn their yards into lush gardens.
The trusted people always seem to be the worst, you know?
The personality he conveyed was just a front.
Of course it was.
Happily watching their kids on his knee, and his clients admiring their new lawns had no idea what Bruce actually was. A necrophile and a serial killer.
Oh, shit.
Little did one of his clients know, he was turning their lush new garden into a graveyard.
What?
In September
That is sick, dude.
2017, Bruce murdered at least 8 men. His targets were usually vulnerable, having...
And, I mean, looking at that, I mean, if you look at the men on there, they all seem to have some kind of, like, I guess, like, Middle Eastern, sort of like a Middle Eastern sort of situation. If you look at the names and sort of how they look, at least like I'd say at least out of all of them, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 8 are Middle Eastern. I mean, was that kind of what he? I mean, I don't see why they're vulnerable, in my opinion. I mean, there might be more we'll find out, but yeah. Okay.
Having been poor, lonely, or new immigrants, all of Bruce's victims had arrived to what they thought was a safe country to explore their sexuality. Bruce's seemingly welcoming and friendly nature led his victims to thinking he was a friend and to trusting him.
All right.
He would kill them.
Is it because
Bruce was described by colleagues and coworkers to be a great guy.
Is it like because was he homosexual then? Was he?
30 years, he was seemingly happily married to his wife Janice, who he had 2 children with and lived in a house in Oshawa with, a middle-class town very close to downtown Toronto. In the late 90s, however, Bruce came out of the closet, probably to the shock of his wife.
Yeah, there we go.
After suggesting that the two have an open relationship, he left his family and moved to Toronto.
What do you guys think about open relationships? For me personally, that's something I couldn't do ever. Honestly, I'd get too jealous in that aspect. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I mean, could that be? I don't want to jump the gun, but could this be like part of the reason of why he done what he did?
But he remained on speaking terms with his family. Bruce became a regular in gay neighborhoods and wanted to be part of the LGBT community. But pretty soon that community didn't want him to be a part of it.
Oh god, okay.
He earned himself a reputation of being trouble.
Being a bit of a player, probably.
When in his late 50s, Bruce received his first criminal conviction. Assault of a man with an iron pipe in the man's home 2 years prior.
Oh my god.
Bruce turned himself into the police, and throughout the case, he maintained that he blacked out before the assault and...
This is giving me Jeffrey Dahmer vibes without eating people, though.
Bruce pleaded guilty to 1 count of assault causing bodily harm and assault with a weapon. But thanks to his lawyers, Bruce didn't serve prison time. Rather, he was ordered to attend counseling for anger management.
Oh, get out of there.
DNA sample to police.
See, that's what annoys me with this.
Bruce had his record suspended, so nobody would ever know that he'd been arrested at all.
What?
Bruce's landscaping business.
He was this is the thing. I know I keep pausing it, guys, and I'm sorry if this is kind of annoying, but it's just so much I want to talk about. It just makes me like, I question so much about the law. Like, you know, it's probably because this guy's mega. Obviously, he's mega. Probably got a lot of money because he's a landscaper. Landscapers earn a lot, from what I know, and obviously his lawyers have saved him there a lot. And that's why he got away with so much obviously.
Business was busy enough to occasionally hire casuals.
It frustrates me.
One of those hires disappeared. Mahid Kayhan. Bruce admitted to police to knowing Mahid. He told police that Mahid had worked for him doing landscaping for a month, and the 2 men had a sexual relationship that Bruce claimed he broke off. Bruce
Did he?
was the suspect at the time of the interview. He was treated as a witness in the missing persons.
He broke it off because he killed him. Yeah, probably.
His approach to murder was usually the same: strangulation using a rope and metal bar. When his victims were dead, he'd pose their bodies and photograph them, sometimes in his apartment and sometimes in his red Dodge Caravan.
This is Jeffrey Dahmer vibes, dude. So much.
With a cigar in his mouth. Some had their beards and heads shaved. Others had their eyes closed.
Shit.
And he would take close-up photos of their genitalia. Bruce stored these dead body photo shoots in digital files on his computer. He then dismembered his victims, distributing their body parts in one client's garden.
Yeah.
Use his knowledge and skill in gardening. In June of 2016, Bruce ended up in a police station after a guy he was having sexual relations with reported him for almost choking him to death while they were in the back of his van. The man managed to escape and report Bruce to the police. And for the second time, Bruce turned himself into the police.
Because he's turning himself in, he's able to get away with it. That's the thing. They're probably going to give him a more lenient sentence because he's given himself in. That's probably his vibe there. He knows he can get away with it.
For a while, we try to make out once in a while. All of a sudden, he grabbed me by the throat, threw me on behind my back.
I mean, I know sometimes when you're in the moment, you can grab someone around the throat quite hard, but
We're hooking up in the back of his van when Bruce started choking him violently. The man claims he barely managed to escape. But when Bruce was being questioned by police, he played it off that he was asked by the man to choke him.
Convenient.
And right now, you're under arrest. You were placed under arrest this evening for the offense of assault, okay? You've been brought here 232 Division for the purposes of being investigated for the... Okay. So an allegation has been made against you, and this officer in just a moment is going to let you know exactly what that allegation is, okay?
So the allegations are that around 6:30 p.m. this evening, you met up with a gentleman by the name of
Okay, they blanked out the name.
of Bathurst Finch. During the course of your involvement with him, there was an allegation made of an assault, which in choking.
So I know when it comes down to, like, obviously this is probably going to be a little bit more of an over 18 situation there, but I'm going to go into it because I mean I need to, because it's something I need to, like, I guess react and expand on. But when it comes down to sort of in like a sexual way, obviously BDSM is quite a big thing that a lot of people in 2022, and I mean going back years, it's quite a big industry, I guess, and like a big thing within, you know, the sexual situations. And the way that I see it is obviously he's used that again, basically against the police in regards that, like, you know, I wasn't trying to choke him, like, I mean, well, I was, but he liked it rough, and that kind of where BDSM comes in, and sort of like the 50 Shades of Grey vibe. So whether he got away with this, I don't know, but let's see. But if he did, this is going to be like slaughter.
Was the allegation made, and that's basically why you're under arrest today for that assault.
Okay. So, sir, if you would like to...
He seems pretty chill, doesn't he, as well? You don't eat your sight yet.
Well, we talked about going for dinner, and he said he needed to take a shower, so I said I'd meet him at the Tim Hortons at Finch and Bathurst.
Mm-hmm.
And so he arrived, and we were going to have sex, and he suggested do it in the back of his truck since it hadn't been used yet. It was a brand new truck.
It basically wanted to cruise in it. That's what they call it. Well, that's what I call it.
So we went to my van.
Like if I want to cruise in my sofa.
He likes it rough, so I put my hand to his throat. And
I knew he'd say this.
just for a few seconds, because before that he's very strong. He just completely turned around and grabbed me by the throat. And said, "Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to you."
He's stuttering as well. You can tell he's chatting shit.
I couldn't breathe, so I put my hands like up in the air, like surrender, because I couldn't talk. And that's when he finally let go. And then he jumped out of the car. He said, "I don't want to see you again."
Has something like this ever happened before, where things got out of hand?
Not like that. No, not that quickly, or not just like that.
Okay. Things have never gotten violent.
I mean, it has actually, because you got accused of it ages and ages ago, and then you got away with it because your lawyers are absolute fucking nutters, and, you know, obviously it's their job, I guess, but still, you got away with that, you jammy bastard. Fucking it bloody annoys me, man. This is like ended up being a rant video, but it's true. Like it just annoys me. It just shows like how stupid the law is in the UK itself, as well as the US.
But no. Okay.
In some respects, anyway.
I thought he liked it rough.
The police believed
One excuse.
the case was dropped.
Oh my god.
June 26th,
This is killing me, man.
Andrew Kinsman disappeared, and this was the start of Bruce's downfall. Andrew was Bruce's other victims. Andrew was well known and liked among Toronto's church and gay community, and
Right.
caretaker of his apartment building in Cabbagetown. His disappearance following Toronto's Gay Pride Parade was quickly noticed, and within days, posters of his face were seen all over town. Andrew had become the
Especially when it's like a gay event. It's gonna be, isn't it, you know?
the community for years. Andrew's friends and colleagues knew he was interested in true crime and serial killers. A colleague noted that he had an occasional hookup with a man very into the psychology of serial killers and how they functioned. When police searched Andrew's apartment, they found computer files on the serial killer and necrophile Dennis Nilsson, otherwise known as the Kindly Killer.
Oh, I've heard of this guy.
His methods of murder were eerily similar to those of Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
Found a documentary on U.S. serial killer John Wayne Gacy
And this guy, I know this guy.
November 11th, 2010, using Andrew's camera. The name Bruce was also scribbled on Andrew's calendar.
This is so Jeffrey Dahmer, man. It's fucking creepy.
It's possible Andrew suspected Bruce was a killer and was doing his own investigation. Police discovered CCTV footage.
it's quite convenient, isn't it? Really, that this. I know this is a bit sad. It's obviously he's passed away, so it's unfortunate. But it's just a little bit convenient that he's into serial killers and he watches all of it, and then he ends up actually meeting one and goes missing from one. It's just crazy stuff, dude.
Showing Andrew getting into Bruce's red 2004 Dodge Caravan. They finally had a suspect.
Oh, thank God for that.
2017, while Bruce was under surveillance, police took a coffee cup he discarded in the trash to obtain a sample of his DNA. 2 months later, Bruce dumped his caravan at a scrapyard, which was seized by the police and forensically examined.
Of course he did.
They found blood and semen connecting multiple victims to Bruce, including
oh my God,
victim.
Imagine being the police in that position though, and finding it.
Enter Bruce's home covertly without him being there. Forensic experts discovered photographs of Andrew and Salim on his computer, taken after both men were dead. The timing of this discovery was impeccable, because he was likely about to commit another murder. The next day, police witnessed a younger man arrive at Bruce's apartment building in Toronto. The man was likely to be Bruce's next victim.
He got saved, luckily.
Finding the man who entered his apartment naked and handcuffed to the bed with a black bag over his head.
Oh my God.
This was done with his consent, and he was screaming for help. He was arrested and charged with the murders of Andrew and Salim.
I'm so glad that he got found in the end. I mean, it took so long, but thank God they sorted it out.
A deeper search of his apartment revealed files on each of his 8 victims, and souvenirs from each of his crimes.
Oh my God.
Ropes and a metal bar used in the strangulation, jewelry from multiple victims, and a notebook for Salim. They also found a file he'd already prepared for the man they'd saved, confirming that he was close to having the same fate as the other 8 known victims.
Oh shit.
Police checked 75 properties that Bruce had worked on, and at one client's property in Leaside, they found body parts from the 8 victims in large planter boxes and an adjacent ravine.
Oh man.
Razor, the homeowner, was shocked.
I would be
the best friend, neighbor, relative anyone could want. A many used for him in the past. But
all a lie though, innit?
Still stands. Were there only 8 victims?
What do you think on that, guys? Just in the comments, do you think there'd be more than 8? I honestly, I'm gonna be honest and say there probably is more than 8. I would say, because I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't want to. I'm trying to justify my reasoning behind that, and I'm finding it hard to justify it. But I'm gonna kind of go with it and say like that there probably are more somewhere. If anything, because like if he was obviously like a landscaper, he's worked at so many properties over the years, obviously. And like yes, he did plant some in the same place, but is a serial killer from what I've read about serial killers. A lot of them will try and put them in obviously in different places as well, because obviously they don't want to get caught. Why he put them in the same place, I have no idea, bear in mind, but I think there might well be a few more, potentially. I don't know. But what do you guys think about it?
Bruce entered a guilty plea early in court proceedings, but showed no sign of remorse.
That's what effed him over them.
Sentence on each murder charge.
Good.
Between 1975 and 1978, 14 men from Toronto's gay community were murdered. The method of killings varied, including beating, strangulation...
Oh my God, that's a lot of people, isn't it, in 3.5 years?
Half of the cases, but the rest remain cold cases. It seemed likely that Bruce was somehow linked to these other murders.
That's what I'm thinking.
Seemingly jolly mall Santa to be capable of such atrocities.
I can definitely say there's probably more now when they've confirmed the 14.
Somebody actually can be behind...
There've been 6 more he would have done if it was all of them. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I know it was a little something a bit different today, more of a Christmas special. But my God, that was pretty crazy. I just can't believe that they were all Bruce. Madness, madness. But yeah, if you guys want me to react to more videos like this, then let me know in the comments, because I'm really open for doing that kind of content. I think this kind of content is something obviously a bit different to analog horror, not doing the same thing all the time. I mean, as much as I love analog horror, there's only so much at times I can do. But if you guys enjoyed it, consider liking the video and also subscribing to my channel. Go and check out Mr. Nightmare. He is like a very big YouTuber that does a lot of these things, and I've watched quite a lot of his documentaries he does, and that was the reason I picked that one, is because it's also a Christmas sort of situation right now, obviously, and the vibes and that time of the year, and also because it is horror to some degree, true crime. So again, if you want to see more of it, let me know. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my reaction, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.